Okay, this is going to be my Slayer True Solo Deathwish commentary. This is with a barge, dual axes, and dual hammers build. All mobility focused, no defense really. This is not sped up in case anyone's wondering. As you can see, I'm actually able to stagger some. I'll go over this. Some of these Skaven just by dodging into them without actually hitting them. You can see one on the left just there. It's quite useful sometimes. It's still not as good as the other damage reduction talents, but it is useful. Okay, I will just skip ahead a little bit. Sorry, I had to lower the quality. This is the first horde. There was just some ambient clear here, there wasn't much. So yeah, using push attack on elites and specials, it's just good for everything really. It does the same damage as the heavy, but it's faster and has a lot of movement. Just limited by stamina. See how I dodged at the ground a little bit into the horde to stagger them and make sure it staggered the ones at the back ranks? That way I don't get running attacks. If I just dodged at my feet, that's what would happen. As long as you don't dodge into the horde though, like all the way into it and get surrounded, it's fine though. So again, I'm just fighting the horde, using my ult for max movement speed so I can hit the special, get him to explode. I'm going over here because I didn't like that area. Everything was closing in on me and I felt like I was going to have to push forward and I didn't want to do that yet. So there was just some there and I didn't know what was down there. So I just come over here so I can have everything in front of me and now nothing's behind me. Much better situation to be in. I'm just using light attacks just to chip away at the elites. It would be better if I mixed in a few dual hammer lights, but I was a bit overwhelmed at that point since it was the start of the run. Hadn't warmed up yet. I use the cart here to buy myself time against the warp fire thrower just so I can deal DPS. Even if I wouldn't be getting knocked back, it would stop me from seeing things like elite overheads and such. I missed the push attack there, but I can still just dodge the Packmaster. I use my ult to get rid of that warp fire thrower and I make a very bad decision here and take a lot of damage for it. See how there I focused on killing that storm vermin? I'm already at quite low health and I'm surrounded. I should have been moving back already and getting ready to deal with this special. I make the right play back there and heal immediately as soon as I take damage, because I'm actually in a fairly safe spot to do so, since the only thing aiming at me is that Plague Monk, which is too far away, and a single Skaven Slave that I can dodge. I go around this here to take less damage from the rattling, and to cut the horde off from me a little bit and buy myself time to get my ult, then I jump into the rattling. Now I'm just killing the horde. I really should be using dual hammers here, since they still cleave Plague Monks. I just kind of enjoy dual axes. I like to block one of those attacks and then do the push attack, because if you time it right, you'll do the push and get the push attack almost instantly as they stop hitting your block. Basically, it's like high DPS. I'm going straight forward now, though I kill this warp fire thrower since I don't have my ult ready and I don't want him messing with me later. Because sometimes there's a lot of ambience up ahead here. In this case there wasn't too many, so I'm just going to go forward. Now this is the Stormfiend. When I got here, it just aggroed this entire area, does that. I don't handle this too well, but it's also because the Stormfiend AI is funny like that. How he jumped up there. I'm still able to kill him before the next horde arrives. I used my bomb at the start to apply shrapnel and the speed pot just to get more damage in. I really don't want to have to deal with his attrition damage from the fire while fighting the horde. I'll just skip ahead since nothing actually happens until he dies. I'm just hitting it. Ooh. A rattling does come down, but I'm not in any immediate danger from a rattling. I've got a healing item and I just want to get this Stormfiend dead now. I do heal, and I'm going to kill this warp fire thrower. I break line of sight, and the rattling's still shooting at me. I don't want to waste my ult on him since I know a horde is coming soon, and anything else could come. I might need to reposition. So I end up just going around here. Also, there's sometimes a pot there, around here to deal with that special. I don't want a gas rat following me. I think I end up actually being wrong. At the time I thought there was going to be a horde and I was being overly cautious. But I end up just being able to push into the next area. There's barely any elites here, fortunately, as well. A few plague monks, I hit him while he's coming down, and I'm able to kill him before he gets to do anything. Same with that one. I pull a few ambients just by going to the top of that ladder there. It was just a clan rat actually. I start the fight versus this horde up here because it's relatively safe and I can do this. I don't DPS him effectively, I should have used heavy attacks or have been headshotting. There's some shields here and I'm worried about specials and such, and there was that other bomb there. So I end up using the firebomb because they're all clumped up here on this small area, which makes it very effective. If I had just been down on the street, they may have been more spread out. You see, that actually cleared the entire wave and I actually had time in between it. Again, I'm at that close and he hasn't even started firing yet. I start using dual hammers here. I do 3 light attacks, block 3 light attacks. The 4th light attack is a bit slower, so this ends up being more DPS. I use dual axe light attacks when it's safe, because they are pretty good DPS against Skaven and you can get away with it, and I just enjoy how they feel. But against Chaos, definitely use dual hammers. This is another Skaven wave. I'm just fighting them here because dual hammers can deal with extreme density like this. As you can see, they generate fantastic cooldown even without adrenaline surge. So I had my ult before my ult had even ended because of that density and how many I was hitting. I'm now pushing here. Another reason why I fought just at that ladder was so that I would be able to immediately push into the next area as soon as the horde was dead, as opposed to fighting at the end of the street, which I usually do with careers that I'm less confident with. No reason to leave the gas rat alive, he doesn't really benefit me at all. I ult here, kill a little bit of the trash, while also dealing damage to the Chaos Warrior. Mixing it up as I go because I can one-shot those Skaven slaves, so there's no commitment to killing them. I can just do a light attack and kill them, when they're inconvenient for me. Whereas if it was a Chaos Warrior surrounded by a bunch of Marauders, and there's one, but only one, I might want to actually commit to either killing one or the other. Because just reducing something to half health isn't necessarily that useful. You want it to actually be dead. So it can no longer be a threat to you, which I could do with the Skaven slaves. This isn't a strict rule though, just do what feels natural. Especially when you're kiting, you can't really afford to stand in front of something and focus it down. I'll go over this a little bit, sorry. So there was a bunch of ambience here, so I throw the bomb. A firebomb won't do much, but it will apply shrapnel. I also hit this barrel because it's just free damage and it won't do much to me. Another thing I do is by going up on this ledge here, I cause them to come up here and do some awkward overheads, and now they can't get me, they have to come back down. It even triggers one of the Maulers to climb for some reason. He dies to the firebomb. And that's actually a lot of the ambience in this area. Now I've got the patrol over there and a few ambient shielded storm vermin. I'm just killing this Chaos Warrior here in this corner. I don't want to risk aggroing the patrol, so I'm going to wait here. Oh, and in case you didn't know, you can just do this little jump here, it saves time. You can't walk, you have to jump. I know there are assassins coming, but I don't really know where to go, and fortunately one of them is just there for me, and the other one is in a direct line of sight. As you could see though, this ended up causing me having to drop, just because the other one jumped at me. If I had stayed up there, he may have just instantly, when he went into that corner, and attacked me again. It also causes the assassin to drop, because while you're in this tunnel, it's extremely rare for the assassin to just straight jump at you from somewhere like, let's say, the bridge that the patrol crosses. So it was a very safe play. Usually he'll always come down to one end of the tunnel, where you can see him. Okay, I just avoid the patrol, so we'll just go forward. Just ambient storm vermin, I just spam my attacks on them, it's safe and it generates better temp HP. It's also very comparable DPS to the heavy attacks on armor, surprisingly. Get some good supplies. Bunch of ambience here, so I wait up here. I'm going to fight the horde here. I don't want to push into the next area. For all I know, I'll get a boss spawn, like a chaos spawn, and then that will be hell for me. I use the fact that they have to go over there and climb. Oh, and this was during, it was where some of the events were messed up. Screaming Bell wasn't affected by that, but something was causing the Skaven AI specifically, not the other AI, to mess up here, and they would do weird things like this. See how they're not actually focusing on me properly? Like doing weird spinning attacks. Yeah. See how they're not even attacking me? It's very strange. So it's unimportant since I'm not even really fighting them here, so I'll just skip them. Though, one thing I did do that actually was smart was getting them to climb over the cart wall, or drop down. And I'm just attacking them here. Normally it wouldn't be this safe, but it's usually the safe play. Okay, now I'm just fighting normal horde that's working properly. See how I know there's an assassin coming, I hear him. And another thing, when you're in this area, about halfway on this street, specials will always come from the end of the street, up at the top. They'll never come from behind. It's extremely rare, unless you go further back down. So you can always tell they're going to come from top, and assassins love to just jump at you straight up from the end, but they will sometimes come down closer. Even when they would normally have a straight line of sight, I don't know what triggers it, but they will just come closer. Since I know he's going to leap straight at me, I'm going to go to the left here and hide behind this cart. I didn't need to do that, but it just made sure he wouldn't actually be able to reach me. Now I only do that once he's actually jumped, to get him to commit. So I wait for him to jump, then go to the left to make sure I'm safe, and then I switch to dual hammers because I know that will cleave the assassin and everything around him too, so it's the safe option for me. Normally, if the assassin was more in the horde and I used dual hammers, that would be risky because it wouldn't actually kill him, it would just push him back in it when I don't have my ult and I wouldn't be able to do anything. However, because he was just in front, I was able to just hit him forward continuously in front of the horde, making it a very safe play. Like that, he just kept going forward. Now I just use dual hammers. I don't even really have to push too much. It just deals with them quite well. And again, I have my ult before I actually need it. Well before. It's fantastic ult generation without adrenaline surge. Or any cooldown reduction properties. There's a rattling at the end there, but I don't really have to deal with him yet because I know I have more horde anyway. He's killing quite a lot of it too. Skip ahead a bit, so I'm just fighting the horde until I get ult back. I ended up healing back there because I took a lot of damage. Now that I have my ult, what happens is I end up seeing the Packmaster and hear the assassin. I move to the left just to deal with the Packmaster and make sure the assassin doesn't interfere by leaping at me while that happens, which would complicate it a lot. If I had to deal with the Packmaster and the assassin at the same time, it makes things much more awkward and I have to time it right, my dodge and push. So I come over here, assassin has no line of sight, but the hook's still going to come over. I'm going to kill the hook, and now I see the assassin just around the cart there, and I know he's going to come to the left, but he actually comes to the right. I'm not quite prepared for this. If I was closer to the cart, I may have been able to just immediately push and stagger him. So what I end up having to do is, the hard part is just time it properly. And I do. But it was still overall a good play because it meant I only had to deal with the assassin and Packmaster one at a time. I leap at the rattling because I know he's going to start firing before I could just walk to him normally. Also, I am using a move tech where I switch between dual axes and dual hammers, light 1, constantly, and just doing the first light attack. It makes you a bit faster. I hear the Stormfiend, so I immediately go up to these Storm Vermin just to clear them because they could cause me issues. Since I don't have any damage reduction on this build, they can do a lot of damage to me. I see these potions, and I see my opportunity to just kill this Stormfiend before another horde spawns, especially since I just killed a horde. I don't quite time this perfectly and get all the headshots, but I'm able to do a lot of damage. With this build, dual axe light attacks are your highest boss DPS. As you can see, he's dying fairly quickly. I just keep spinning around, and this movement speed makes it very easy to reposition for headshots on the controller on its back. Except when it does this. But even still, on the super armored head, I could do enough damage to finish it off. Now there's nothing else actually in this area, so I'm just going to skip forward. Just a few ambients. I hear there's an assassin coming, and I don't want to go up yet, because for all I know, he could be at the top of those steps, waiting for me, in which case I would have a very small area to dodge in. I see the warp fire thrower, and I mess up there. What I should have done is actually waited just at that cart in front, near these steps, so he would have to come down and turn and face at me, and I would have enough time to do a push attack. And I would still actually be safe there from any assassin jumping from the other side, because I'd have the cart behind me. So I end up having to go around this. What I end up doing is ulting because I panicked a little bit. And that was actually bad, because as you could see, I couldn't see through that explosion. For all I knew, at that point the assassin could have been just turning around the corner and immediately leaping at me. So I really didn't want to cause the warp fire thrower to explode. I end up waiting here. It's just some ambient Skaven. Since the assassin doesn't come, I have a bit of confidence and engage with them. I'm still playing quite defensively though, and I'm still worried about the assassin. I handled this warp fire thrower much better. I was able to because I caught him much earlier, before he'd actually reached the bottom of the steps. Now there's quite a lot of ambient storm vermin here, so I won't skip this part. So I'm mainly just doing light attacks and timing my pushes. Dodges. Using push attacks for mobility when I need them. Push attacks are very effective against shielded SV. I'm not able to kill all of them, but I'm able to kill enough of them that I'm okay, and I don't have an immediate strong threat against me. These shielded SV aren't a big problem for me. I'm more worried about sudden overheads and just running attacks, because even though this is a very mobile build, it doesn't have a lot of dodge range, in particular, especially while I'm using dual hammers. Now I hear that assassin, and I also notice that there's quite a lot of just Skaven scattered around here, so I don't really have a nice comfy spot to defend in. So I come down here. That was quite lucky with that Packmaster. I wasn't really paying attention to what was right in front of me since I was looking up. I time the dodge right, and I just attack him. Skaven are coming down these steps, but I wanted to just do some DPS there, but as soon as I hear the assassin, I'm going back. I'm still hitting them to keep my movement speed buff up, and I don't know where the assassin's going to come from. He could come from the right, at the top of the steps, or at the top of the other steps, or all the way at the end of this street, potentially. So I end up using a concentration potion, which is arguably a bit of a waste, because it's very useful for the final event, but it ends up being a very good play here because of a couple of mistakes I make. The stag is useful, but I end up getting hit a lot because it's Deathwish and I didn't stagger them that much. So I end up ulting again, and I didn't actually ult far enough to buy myself time to heal. So I see the assassin, he misses me, and he's not in a spot to immediately jump back at me. So I end up ulting, and I mess the ult up again a little, so I don't have enough time to heal. And I know the assassin is somewhere, so I end up, what I should have done at the start is, this is what I do. I heal and ult at the same time. This isn't too risky because I end up ulting into just trash inventory, no elites nearby. If I did this by ulting into elites, I would definitely get punished and hit because it wouldn't stagger them on Deathwish. And even on official, if you don't have crunch to increase the stagger strength, it just may not stagger them for long enough, you'll probably get hit. And the warp fire thrower is not going to interrupt me. I then decide I don't know where the assassin is. I feel lucky for just having avoided him. I go all the way up here since it's completely clear and safe. Fortunately, the assassin exposes himself. Now, with the kind of leap he's doing, I know, especially with my movement speed and move tech, I can just walk out of the way and wait for him, and then I do that. Because there's a wall that's going to stop him. And I'm far enough away from the wall that I don't risk him bouncing off and hitting me. I didn't leap properly into the warp fire thrower, but that's fortunate because if I had, I probably would have gotten trapped. As you can see, he was surrounded by other Skaven. So I end up just doing some quick chip damage to the horde, with the warp fire thrower helping me with its stagger. I should be using dual hammers here more, but I just like dual axes. I don't have my ult ready yet, But so what I end up doing is just avoiding the fire and just trying to close the distance slightly so I can get to it immediately. And I know I'm going to have my ult really soon, so I start closing distance, hit a few things, and then ult. Now it's just Skaven and few elites. No dangerous elites to me either, ones I can just ignore until the end of the horde. Slayer doesn't deal with shields particularly well, but when they're isolated he can actually deal with them fairly easily. Just because the push attack deals with them really well. They do stop my cleave a bit, but again it's not too much of a problem. Just because I'm so fast. It is a problem when I do that though. See, I tried to use the push attack, but I wasn't paying attention to my stamina. The important thing to note is that when you're switching from weapon to weapon, the stamina carries over. So I use the push on dual hammers. That means I only have one stamina on dual axes. So I use one push attack, and that means now I have none. But I think I have two. And I try to do another one, and I end up getting punished for it. If I had to block there, I should have switched, but really I shouldn't have been trying to do a push attack at all. Note that the push attack staggers them quite well and opens them up for a lot of hits. I see the rattling, but I focus on the Packmaster, and arguably it wasn't the right play, because I probably just could have meleeed him and then ulted at the rattling. I end up having to do this, and I get punished for it. Because I'm taking so much damage, I see that healing and go straight for it immediately and try to heal. But what I should have done is actually gone to the very top of these steps here, as that would have put me, or maybe not quite to the top, just a bit to the left, or gone all the way over, down, past them. That would have put me slightly in the line of sight of the rattling, but it puts me in a much safer position to heal from the Storm Vermin, especially if I do it at the right time to make it so that he starts climbing these steps. Because the Storm Vermin behind him wouldn't have reached me. I do end up getting hit here, so I end up having to... I don't want to fight those Storm Vermin in there. For all I know, like they could just get a hit in. Maybe one would do a shield bash, stagger me or something, since I can't stagger them out of it, especially on Deathwish. So I just go out, since the rattling stopped firing. Stagger him, get out. Go over here, where this gas rat is. Kill him, because he's going to throw that globe, and that's going to kill me. Now that I've got this Storm Vermin isolated, I can deal with him very easily. Same with this one. And I heal because I'm now safe from the rattling. I wait for it to stop firing, and I'm going to follow it now. He's going to start firing, but it's too late for him. I'm able to close the distance in time, without having to use an ult. It's also important to note that it's better to do that when you can also circle around them. If they've got their back to a wall and you can't do that, it does give you a little bit less time. I'm just going to go straight up the steps now. Ideally, I want to get to the final without without getting another horde. Let's see, I do see a special. I see these berserkers, and I'm just going past these guys because I don't want to fight them. I try to kill this, go down, but I do end up getting a horde. Or do I? No, I think this was a clean event entry. Alright, so I go over here, drag everything over here. I want to break those chains. I'm going to wait here for a little bit. I hear that there's a Packmaster, and I try to kill it. I hear there's a Packmaster, and I'm really not confident at this point. I don't know where it is. If you look though, if I had been paying attention, I could have seen it. And it would have been better to stay up here because I could have killed it as it was climbing, or even jumped off at the same time it jumped up and then killed it. But what ends up happening is I drop too early, just as it starts its climbing animation, which is fortunate because that means it's safe for me, but he gets out of my reach almost immediately. It's okay though. Now this isn't a good situation to be in. There's a bunch of Skaven behind me. I know that Packmaster's coming down and there's elites too. So fortunately I have my ult. I get hit. As soon as I have my ult, I just ult. Get past these guys. Go up here to break these chains. Now that I'm here, I'm waiting a few seconds for everything to come up here so I can jump down and have a clear escape. If I just jump down immediately, those Maulers and Skaven slaves down there would just block my path. See how they're climbing, and now my path is completely clear. I go this way because I'm not confident of going left. Left would be faster, but it is less safe. I get pushed by the Mauler. He's got long arms. I'm using my move tech to get there faster since time is very important here. I knew there was an assassin somewhere, but I had no idea where he was, so I was just playing careful. I get hit, but I'm able to not die. I see the Packmaster, but I know I haven't got any elites on me immediately, just ambient trash. So I know I've got barge and I'll just stagger them. So I actually put my back to the wall in what is quite a dangerous position. See how the elites, none of them are immediately on me. I know I can just kill this Packmaster and be fine, because I'm going to have my ult in a second and then escape. If I have to, I'll just ult forward. I dodge him, kill him, and then I ult. And I wanted to ult further, but at the last second I was like, oh, I might fall off. What I could have also done was ulted just past everything here, but that would have put me in a bad spot too. No closer to my actual objective and in a spot I could get trapped, near the assassin. So I kill the Packmaster, do a indecisive ult, and fortunately I'm able to just get through because of the weird way it goes, the weird way that ult moves. Leaps. Go up here, I'm going to immediately break the chains, I'm so fast I can just get past these guys before they climb. Break them, and now I'm going to just stand here, hit them while they're climbing, get some DPS in until it's not safe anymore. When I feel like there's too much density, and as soon as I see those plague monks especially, who are harder to dodge in tight quarters, I get down. Now, important to note there, I don't go to the left of that Storm Vermin because he could push me off. See, at that angle, if I was at the left of him right now, he could push me off, and I'm lucky he doesn't. I don't do that. So I go to his right. Fortunately, he doesn't try anything like that anyway. But it was definitely possible. I see an opportunity to hit the Plague Monk, I just go for it. Now, I don't feel comfortable at all at this point. As soon as I hear the assassin and there's all this stuff on me and there's going to be a boss and there's a ratling, I get hit. And because this was Deathwish, so I just end up running. Fortunately, this assassin was just down here. I had no idea. But it's actually really good for me, even though it seems bad. Because he's just dead now. Not a problem anymore. I end up doing a very risky heal here. I'm just holding block because I don't want to risk getting hit, though I probably should be holding block less. There's not many doing running attacks yet. Okay, and I basically am just biding time here to ult and heal at the same time because that's what I want to do. But I'm not going to switch to my healing as soon as I'm able to ult. Oh, in this case I am, because I didn't see these guys trying to hit me on the side there. I get so incredibly lucky. I'm not actually sure what causes that, but I think it was the number of enemies targeting me at the time again. So I'm going to wait this time, and then I'm going to pull out the medical supplies and heal. Again, I get a little lucky, because that's Skaven's Slave to the left of me, if you look closely right. He doesn't actually do a running attack, he turns at the last second. Oh, he did actually do an attack, I guess he was just slow. Never mind. And now, at this point, I see the speed pot, especially with this build, I know I can just run away and escape. There's no boss wall here, you can just run away all the way to the end of it. So yep, there goes movement speed, Slayer. I don't have all of it because I'm not hitting anything, but this is definitely more than enough to just run away. Not my, again, proudest moment, but got the job done. And that's that run.